Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much. Just woke up this morning to 15,000 subscribers, and we are growing. Journey to 20,000. I hope we will be there before the end of the month. Now, I am not shocked by the fact that UDA nominations in Rift Valley are high octane or the high stakes in those nominations. But I don't want to generalize. Specifically, I will pick Bomet. And I think yesterday I analyzed in a previous video on why Isaac Ruto did not sign in Kenya Kwanza. And I mentioned that Ruto knew that Bomet, he has a very big wave of fanatic. So I want to single out these counties. One is Bomet. I also want to look a bit at Kajiado, then Embu, and Kirinyaga. These 5 counties. And I think I want us to look at what happened in those 4 counties. Then after that, I will explain for you why personally I have a feeling on how the UDA nominations were bungled. Because in my own understanding, I felt, I have a feeling like someone said it somewhere and scripted all this that they are seeing. Deputy President William Ruto took charge of Jubilee nominations in 2017 after the first attempt was bungled. And of course, by that time, he had all the support of the security, he had all the resources, and they were in a position to deliver what to some people was fairly a credible nomination. Now, let's look at this video here. And it's one video that I don't appreciate. And this video is a video of ballot boxes and vote materials being burnt. Now, what surprised me here is the environment in which this is happening. The people around there are very calm. The boda people are just going on with their own activities. And it's like there is nothing that is happening. It seems like they were just burning some waste materials. And to me, I think one thing that DP Ruto team have to do is, I am not persuaded that this could be done by aspirants. I am not persuaded. By UDA aspirants, I am not persuaded. But then this tells you how things went there. And of course, Ruto had to send Kipchumba Murkomen and I think Bernard Koros to try to take charge of it. We're waiting to see how the results are going to come out. But then these are materials burnt in Embu. Now, if you look at Kirinyaga, in Kirinyaga there is something that's very sarcastic, ironical, because the UDA is promised on supporting mamambogas, bodas, and these small people at the lower part of the pyramid. But there is an aspirant who complained that he was rigged out. And I think he's a very young man. Let's look at this here.
The party has not communicated to me directly. I haven't received anything from them. Since yesterday, they forced me to do an interview, of which I did not do it. I was not going for interview. The consensus failed, and we are not ready for that. We want nomination through ballot.
So this is here. We also told in Kajiado, Peris Tobiko was somehow accused of having marked ballot papers. But then let's go to Bomet. Bomet is where hell broke loose. And hell broke loose because there are candidates there. Sigei, who is facing off with Sosion in the Senate seat. Henry Sigei, I'm told, is Ruto's lawyer, who is facing off with Sosion in the Senate seat. And there is also, I think, Joyce Korir, Joyce Korir. He's the current women rep, but is seeking Bomet Central MP seat. Then we have Barchok, who is also facing with, is it Musonit? Someone, engineer. I think Musonit or Musonik there for the governor seat. So yesterday night, there were marked ballot papers that were actually nabbed. And I wanted to watch this video by NTV because they say that this is someone who was just perusing and finding marked ballot papers. Can you look at it?
Marked 11.
Now, this is something that happened. And of course, even around the Tenwek place, I think that's where the tallying center was, there were marked ballot papers there. And some of the marked ballot papers were in favor of Sigei and the incumbent governor, Hilary Manchok. So what I don't understand is, if someone marked ballot papers in favor of a candidate, how can I mark the ballot papers in my favor, then again spread it out there? Because in that, I stand a highly chance of being disqualified. But they're saying that some of the presiding officers went home with the ballot boxes, with ballot papers, and marked them. So by the time they were being brought to the polling stations, they were already marked. And it really brought a lot of, it brought some drama at the Tenwek High School, where I think Joyce Korir was mishandled. I don't know if there's something like manhandled because she's a woman, but I want to say she was mishandled there. And this is the photo that you're seeing here. If you win a UDA nominations, you get the certificate through UDA in Rift Valley, one leg you are into. You've won that elected seat you're seeking. So that's why there is that. And I think Deputy President, in his own wisdom, decided that he was not going to give direct nominations to places where they're highly competitive, and he will not go to the negotiated democracy, because if you negotiate in that place, it's like simply giving that person the seat. So let them battle it out and find out how exactly things are going to turn out. So Sion was almost withdrawing last minute, saying that this process is already shambolic. But then in this video, I want to tell you something on how I think that where I am sitting, the person who bungled UDA nominations is not the aspirants. It is not Veronica Maina sitting at UDA headquarters. It is Dr. William Samuel Ruto. I want to believe that it is him because, one, it is not Veronica Maina, Secretary General of UDA, who decided that nominations are going to be done in Rift Valley and not the other areas. Majority of those nominations are going to be done there. And they know where this happens. Now, let me tell you how this one is. When they mentioned that they have a 500 million budget, so this budget was to take charge of logistics, printing ballot papers, and beef up some security. But what happened? When the ballot papers were being banned in Embu, where were the police? And by the way, for Embu, I think, to say the truth, we think there's some security lapses there. It's not about blaming the aspirant. So, one, that this issue of using resources, especially on the logistics, resources of aspirants, especially the incumbent aspirants, for logistics. In Bomet, some of those ballot papers were being transported to the polling stations using the county government cars, or even the cars that belong to these fellas. Now, even the security details that are the security that is now to be given there, people are only doing that. That is why even Kipchumba Murkomen was sent in Embu. He was sent in Embu by some very good security details from even Deputy President himself, because DP is remaining in Nairobi. Now, what is happening is the use of these resources made the aspirants have a sense of entitlement. For example, in Bomet, if Hilary Barchok is seeking the nomination for the governor seat, and already his cars in the county government are being used, do you think this person, there are also many loopholes of him bungling the elections? Because his resources are actually being used. Then, the other thing I'm seeing is, where I'm also blaming William Ruto. If you look at people at the headquarters in UDA, they've never been in charge of nominations. The only person in UDA that have ever been in charge of nominations is Deputy President William Ruto. And in his own words, he mentioned that he was going to take charge. So in any case, there is something that is not happening right, it is not wrong to make him accountable. He is accountable for what exactly is happening. They mentioned that they are going to use the IBC register because the party do not have that register. Of course, for me, I believe that parties do not have that capacity even to do these nominations. If the general election is costing billions and is taking the IBC like 5 years to prepare for a general election, then nominations preparation in 1 week, I think they don't have that capacity. So the fact that they told the aspirants that they are going to use the IBC register opened loopholes. At the end of the day, what was going to happen is this: the turnout in the nominations are going to be low. Now, if you mark your ballot papers and keep them somewhere, the turnout becomes low. You just jazzad. With the marked one will actually find a place, because, for example, a polling station has, according to the constitutions, should have 700 registered voters, and that's what they have. So 700 registered voters, only 200 turns up. Then you have 200 marked. You can put and say 400 people turned up and voted, but the 200 already are marked. So that was the blunder. If they had just restricted it to say that the only people that are going to vote are members of UDA, registered members of UDA. But of course, this has been a problem. And the problem has been that some of the people that come and they realize they cannot vote because they're not members, they come and now start doing the protest. So I feel that issue of IBC using IBC register instead of the UDA register is a problem. But then, does it also mean they don't have a register of their members? Because if they are that much organized and honest in it, they would have just used that register. But then, there are also two things. The capacity of the personnels to take charge of those elections. Today in the morning, I was in Dagoretti, and I don't want to mention, of course, yes, and of course, she is watching this. One of the person that is a presiding officer there, sorry to say, someone who I knew was working as a soldier somewhere around that place. I don't want to say the level of education, but the truth is she's not qualified. They went for the less past qualified because it's easy to give them the daily allowance of some few coins here and life goes on. Because if they were to pick people rather than play people based on merit, they couldn't afford. If it's on merit, it's around like someone will need even 5,000 in a day, which they could not. So that capacity is not there. If they really wanted this process to be that well, they would have really checked at the capacity and capability of the personnels. The trap is very simple. Some aspirants that now protest are likely to be banned. And that is how maybe now Ruto is going to fix this mess. I want to agree with Steve Ogola. The lawyer said that the political parties are not even honest in these nominations. It is just posturing for what is to be seen as a democratic process, but it's just a posturing, and already they know the candidates. Even if you are to lose in the nomination, the deadline is very tight. You have to protest, maybe complain in the internal party tribunal. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.